Now we're finished reviewing the elements of art, so we can start exploring the principles of design. I'll group the principles of design into 3 different activities. We'll first start in week 1 with pattern, contrast, emphasis. In week 2 of the unit, we will be discussing balance and proportion. And finally, we'll end with harmony, rhythm, or movement. Well, pattern is going to be the first principle of design we're going to discuss. Patterns are arrangements of repeated elements or motifs. We see pattern in works of art and crafts. But did you know that pattern exists in math and nature? The Fibonacci sequence is a math equation that we often see in nature. You may have heard of it by another name, either the golden spiral or golden ratio. We see pattern applied in art, even from antiquity. Notice the lines and shapes that repeat in the design of the vase. Contrast in art is, by many, to be considered the golden rule for creation. Let's take a look at Henri Matisse's cutouts in collage work. Notice how Matisse explored the arrangement of different parts of the composition. Color and textures play a big part of the contrast in a work of art. Let's take a look at the painting, The Great Black Woodpecker by Collage. Notice that the leafless dead trees and branches create lines that point directly to the woodpecker. You can truly see the emphasis in the tree limbs that are larger and lighter in color than the surrounding trees. Hi Art Scholars, Mrs Alfaro here. Well, these are the materials you're going to need. You're going to need some pieces of bright construction paper. Any colors will be fine. You're going to need a glue stick and a pair of scissors. Go ahead and go get those right now, and I'll meet you back here. Today, Art Scholars, I introduced you to 2 very different works of art. I think today I really want to focus on Henri Matisse's cutouts, his cutout collages. Our objective is to apply pattern, contrast, and emphasis in our collage compositions. You're asking me, what's a collage? Well, a collage is when you take different pieces of paper or materials and combine them together in one work of art. Well, let's try it for ourselves. Okay, so I think I'm going to first start off on having my base as a white sheet of paper. So I'm going to place that down here. And then I'm going to select 2 complementary colors. Art Scholars, you can choose any colors that you want. I've selected blue and orange because they look really fantastic. They invoke a lot of energy when you apply one on top of the other. The next step is to fold your paper in half, okay? And then what you can do is you can start to begin cutting some organic shapes, some free-form shapes, kind of like inspired by Matisse. I'm just going to be making these leafy kind of free-form shapes like this. And I'm going to open it up. And notice I have 2 of them that I've made here. And when I open up here, I have the negative space. So this would be considered the negative space, and this would be the positive space. I'm moving on to different colors now, and I think I'm going to be making some patterns with my cuts. So I might make some lines like this, and I'm just preparing all kinds of patterns and cuts with color. So now I started to create my pattern. If you noticed, I used some of the positive space shapes and some of the negative space shapes. I kind of like the look of both. It balances it out and it gives emphasis on the blue circle in the middle. As I said, the orange and the blue really invoke a lot of energy when they're placed next to each other. Let's take a look at some completed works so you can get some ideas of how you would like to form your collage. These are some examples of completed works. I know Matisse would love your work when it's complete. Once you're finished, if you're one of my virtual students, please submit it in Google Classroom. For my in-person students, we will be working on this process together in class. I hope you all enjoyed this week's project. Next week, we will be on week 2 for the Principles of Design. See you then! Don't forget to think outside the box.